Incredible physique. Do I think she's natty or not? Don't know what day of the week it is, but it's a day of the week, either a Monday or a Thursday. Let's be honest, we're only split between two, and that means time for another video. The influencer that we're actually going to be talking about today is due to feature on my Natty or Not video that I'm hopefully going to release in the next few weeks regarding women on PEDs, or either not on PEDs, who knows. And that is Cass Martin. I will do a deep dive on her in the future if people want to see it, but for now, we're going to look at her technique and her weightlifting because she is very known for her resistance training. But obviously, before we look at what's going on, we need to put a piece of headwear on. Long time ago, I mean probably what, how old am I now? I'm 27 now, so probably about 26 years ago, when I was 1 year old, I was swimming across the channel and a wild shark full Pokemon came after me, and obviously I wrestled it. Needless to say, it ended up on my head, and here we are. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's it. Anyway, video. Quad focus. Why is Dennis Wolf commenting on this? What are you doing, Dennis? I haven't seen you since the Olympia back in the day. What's going on? I'm going to be honest with you, I've never seen this piece of equipment personally. It's essentially a plate-loaded split squat machine. The idea and the concept I think is phenomenal. Split squats are a fantastic movement, not just for quad development, but also glute development too. They're probably one of my favourite unilateral-based lower movements, so being one leg at a time. But a lot of people can struggle with balance and stability when doing so. So having a machine that essentially helps remove balance or stability, I think can be really great for a lot of people. And it also may actually allow you to overload a bit more on the movement because you are taking out an element of stability. Granted, I do think that stability is very important and you should include stability-based movements when you can. This is also just another great means of doing a split squat. I don't think we've ever actually seen somebody use the safety squat bar when squatting in one of these videos. Do I like it? I do. Due to the position of the weights and the position of the handles and all sorts, for most people, me especially, it is harder. When you've got handles and you're really pulling in, it brings in a lot of that back tightness. So if you're not locking everything, it's very easy for the elbows to shoot up, to flare, and then to essentially lose balance and fall all over the shop. Weight distribution is very different to a regular squat, and I think it can be quite a great weak point specific accessory if you do wish to work on your squat, and the safety squat bar does highlight elements of weakness throughout your squat. She's obviously got her heels raised on this platform thing to help her hit depth. Either that, or she could be doing it for additional quad focus because this is quad focus leg day. Upper body work, let's have a gander, that's what we're saying. So we've got dumbbell press. We do like a dumbbell press. The thing I like about this, she's adopting somewhat of like a bench arch, although the arch is a bit more lower back dominant here, which again, I've spoken about before. You want to kind of go more towards the upper back if you can, or mid back. Keeping the bum on the bench just about, which I know a lot of people struggle with, especially when they're using elements of leg drive. So if you see when she goes through the press motion, the legs are contracting and she's using that force to help drive the weight up. More commonly done on a bench press with a barbell, but obviously you can do it with a dumbbell as well. She does look a bit unstable, probably because she's lifting very heavy, or maybe she's lifting a bit outside her means for the purpose of a video. So on the first one, as you'll see, she just about touches her chest or gets extremely close to, but the rest are a bit higher. For bodybuilding purposes, out of the flat, the incline, and the decline, the only one I would really say, like, I'm not that bothered about if you touch your chest or not, would be the incline. Due to the torso angle, the increased range of motion, a lot of people don't have the shoulder mobility to actually get to their chest comfortably, and it can put a lot of pressure on the anterior delt. And then from a powerlifting standpoint, a lot of people actually use the incline as a lockout-based accessory, because as you'll notice, if you ever do incline bench, you can get halfway quite comfortably, but that last half where the triceps really come in struggles a lot for a lot of people. Front squats, again, more similar to a high bar than a low bar based on torso angle and just body positioning. More quad dominant, will probably bring the core into a bit more as well, because the bar is in front of you, it's much harder to maintain position due to the bar's location. Essentially, you are resting the bar across your anterior delt, avoiding the clavicle if possible, because you don't want it hurts. Basically, it's going to be quite uncomfortable for a lot of people. It's going to be a bit awkward for a lot of people. You need to find a position that suits you. By vertical leg press, this is wild and crazy. Never actually seen one of these. I see people do this on the Smith machine. That stresses me out. If you're lying on the floor on the Smith machine and you've got this mass amount of weight coming towards your head, it's not pancake day, but it's about to be. It's going to crush me, it's going to flatten me, and I'm going to be served up on a plate. If you do have the actual machine for it like this, then yeah, go for it. I've seen this in Final Destination before. I saw Final Destination once when I was much younger. I think it was one where they were on like a roller coaster. Got really scared, cried, put on About a Boy, fantastic movie, because if I didn't, I wouldn't have been able to sleep that night all for the rest of my life probably. I say when I was younger, that was actually last night, but we digress. I think the range range of motion is potentially a bit excessive. Some people are more flexible than others. Sure, some people have better mobility than others. Do I think elevating yourself and going that low is necessary? I would lean towards no. If you look at where her hands are ending by her ankles. That has the potential to be quite dangerous because you are taking your body through an unnecessary range of motion, and for that reason I probably wouldn't do it. I usually shoot for about the mid shin, maybe even a bit higher depending, but I'm not actually that flexible, so I look like a log. You should go down until you feel a bit of a pinch in the hamstrings where you really start getting that stretch, but not take it really too far beyond. Very quickly, gonna have to interrupt you just for literally 35 seconds, random number, we're gonna go with it. If you haven't already, I would really appreciate it if you did like the video, because 300 likes shows you like these types of videos. I shall make more videos like them. If you haven't already, I would really appreciate if you did subscribe to the channel and click the bell next to it so you get notified when I upload every week. If you have a question you want me to answer at the end of the next video, drop it down below in the comment section for comment question of the week and I shall do so. I think that was a PB. Was that the quickest one we've ever done? I won't interrupt anymore. We'll crack on with the rest of the video. You know I do like a bench press. Well, actually, I don't like a bench press. I'm just not bad at the bench press. Heels planted on the floor. See that? You saw that. So as you see here, she finishes the rep, readjusts her feet. Especially if you're trying to optimize or maximize how much weight you're lifting. When you set your feet and you unrack, you should be locked in. You're not really moving from that position. That is your position for the set. No bouncing the feet around and losing that tightness and losing that base. When benching, you should maintain an element of tightness everywhere. So your knees should be lower than the hips in most cases, which does help you with the arch. You should feel a lot of tension in the quads and in the legs in general because you are driving into the floor, and that force is going to help you press the weight up. So what you'll see is when people benching, they'll be locked in, driving through feet, obviously you can't, elbow. Maintain tightness throughout, so it's almost like they're pushing into the floor all the way through, and then as soon as they hit the chest and they go to initiate the press, the concentric portion, which is the contracting portion, the way up, they'll almost increase how much pressure they're putting through the feet. It's almost like a transfer of force, so you're almost driving from the heels and getting that to finish at the hands where you're pressing. As you're pressing up, I'm almost driving my body back, so I'm not trying to drive up. That's the big misconception. If you drive up, your bum's going to come off the pad. What I'm trying to do is almost drive from my heels and push myself almost along the bench. I do want that force to be driving in the direction of my shoulder blades, and that should, for most people, especially when you get used to it and get better at it, help the initial chest drive. If you are able to wiggle your feet around, then you're not really locked in, you're not really maintaining sufficient lower body tightness. You should come away from the bench with discomfort in the hips of the quads from where you have been maintaining tightness, as well as the upper to mid back. When I first really properly learned how to arch, I had horrific back DOMs the next day. Horrendous. I know I do always preach how I love like compounds and free weights, but isolations and machines do have a place. So I think the cable machine is a great piece of equipment. Due to the constant tension it does allow you to place on the areas you're looking to target. Personally, I prefer cable flies to dumbbell flies. Because ultimately when you're doing like a dumbbell fly, the range of motion in which tension is present is quite limited. Full stretch to about here with tension because you're fighting gravity. Once you get to this point, there's nothing really there because gravity is no longer working against you. When I do dumbbell fly, I do limit my range of motion, so I go from there to about here. Barbell rows, love it. It does look like she's using straps. Is that a problem? Absolutely not. So it's common for your forearms to get out first. Do I strap up for most of my heavy back work? I do. If I'm doing things like a pull down, I probably don't. I do avoid strapping up for vertical pulling motions, but for horizontal pulling, where I am going heavier, like a dumbbell row or barbell row, I will strap up. Do I think you should strap up on everything? No, because I do feel like your forearms can just get further and further behind, and you do neglect to work your grip strength, which can then hinder you in the future, especially if you're struggling with grip on the deadlift. It looks like her thumb is over the bar. Often when you're gripping something, you grip like this, so the thumb is under the bar. If you want a hook grip, you'll grip like this, where you essentially grip over the thumb, which is how I would deadlift. But as you can see, she's kind of got thumb over the bar. When I am doing back work, I do prefer to do what Cass is doing here, which is thumb over the bar. I feel like it does reduce the involvement of my forearms to some degree. It allows me to maintain a better wrist positioning, so I'm not tucking my wrist in as much, where the forearms are really working it due to potential lat weaknesses or back weaknesses. I do just feel like I can get a better contraction in the back, and I just feel like the movement is better for me if I do grip over. If you're pressing, I would very much avoid gripping over like this. I would fully thumb under the bar if I were you, because the last thing you want is when you're bench pressing, you've gripped over, you go up, you press, it slips out because the thumb is not there to stop it, and suddenly you've got a million kilos crushing your chest. She's not pulling so much up, she's almost pulling elbow to hip, and that's the big thing I always kind of cue on the dumbbell row. Rather than pulling up, pull down and back, stand up quickly, and have a gander. So you're going to get into a rough dumbbell row position. Chest up, shoulders back. Obviously I'm looking this way, don't look this way, look forward or down, wherever your spine wants you to look. Row up. Contraction for the lats is very limited. Now try, same thing, but try and get your elbow to your hip, so row back and down. And you should feel much more of a pinch down your lats, which is obviously what we want to see when doing dumbbell row. Range of motion at the elbow is a bit limited, there is a bit less flexion, so a bit less bend, but that's not really a problem. Try both variations, up and then back and down, see which you prefer. Obviously it will be harder to feel the contraction without a weight, so if you do have some weight handy, maybe give it a crack. But the thing I am noticing about this workout is very much horizontal pulling based, so very much rowing based. I haven't seen any vertical pulling, so no pull downs, no pull ups, things like that. I think ideally an effective back workout usually involves hitting your back from multiple angles rather than just the horizontal row. As a whole, incredible physique and incredible training. Do I think she's natty or not? Great question for a future video if you want to see it. Regarding her training and technique from the videos I have observed, I think she's lifting really well, she's lifting heavy, and her results are clearly showing. But now, time for Common Question of the Week. I struggle with hinge movements due to a previous lower back injury, so find it hard to get a good hamstring workout without being able to go heavy with an RDL. What else, other than the hamstring curl machine, could I do to build my hammies? Don't overlook the hamstring curl. Great movement. You've got standing, lying, seated, whatever it may be, variations of such, one leg at a time. You've got pause work, slow eccentric work, drop sets, partial reps, 1.5 reps, things like that. That's actually quite a nasty movement to do. If you let's say get on a lying hamstring curl, do a full rep, go down, halfway up, down, so 1.5 reps, that counts as 1 rep. Do that to failure and you'll be crying. Don't let your bum lift off, try and focus on driving your glutes and your hips forward into the pad. As soon as your bum starts coming off, hamstrings take a bit of a back seat and say, take over elsewhere. Hips into the pad, keep everything locked in. I try and lift my body up slightly, so try and get my chest off the pad. Outside of like the curl variations, one of my favourite hamstring movements to do is the Nordic drop. I think it's a fantastic movement. It's like an eccentric hamstring curl, but with your body weight. And focus on going from upright to the floor as slowly as you can, and as soon as you can't hold your body anymore, you just collapse, jump back up, go again to failure. So it's eccentric base. There's no concentric work really, unless you are strong enough to do the concentric, which many people aren't. On top of that, you've got things like the GHR, the glute ham raise, which is very similar to a Nordic drop, but it does make the concentric portion far easier. You could do things like leg slides, where you put like a metal plate under your foot, lift your bum off the floor, and focus on curling that weight with your heel from full extension to your bum. Choose a few movements you can do without lower back pain and think about how you can make them harder. But that's it. That is a video. Once again, I know I said this in the last video, just thank you so much for all the support recently. Thank you so much for 20,000 subscribers. You are the best and I love you all. Again, I'm sorry, the puppy's not here today and he's actually not going to be here for the next video because he's on the sesh again. He's out with the boys, doing what puppies do. I don't even know where the cat is. He's gone. I haven't seen him all day. Hard life being a parent, it really is. But yeah, that's it. Like I said, if we could get 300 likes in the video, I would really appreciate it. If you haven't already, I would appreciate it if you did subscribe and click the bell next to it to get notified when I upload every week. And if you have any questions you want me to answer for Common Question of the Week, drop it down below in the comment section and I shall do so at the end of the next video. If you do want me to have a look at Cass in the Natty or Not video that I'm going to do in a few weeks, drop it down below. Or if there's anyone else you want me to look at, drop it down below in the comment section. I shall add them to the list and then pick as many as I can. Thank you for supporting the channel, thank you for sharing the channel, and thank you for tolerating the video.